Ahoy there, me hearties! This be Captain Silver Hook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank. Ha ha ha!
Hey, welcome to Podcast 65. Who's this guy?
Is Vinny.
And he's back. Now, of course, I have to come all the way down to his hometown of Rockport because Vinny is very, very busy right now. You just got back from a deep, dark vacation all the way where?
Las Vegas.
That's the city of
Sin.
And you went out there for a good 14, 15 days for what again? Remind us?
BattleBots.
BattleBots, which is his real true love other than everything else that he loves about video games and things like that. But he's been in this stuff since he was a kid, building his own robots and to fight and stuff. And then he kind of got away from that, but he's always been fascinated with their filming, and he wanted to be there, and he's invited back out. So he spent a half a month in this Sin City. Anyways, today we're going to do a what?
Christmas special.
A Christmas special.
And we were going to have festive hats to wear,
Yes.
but he couldn't find them.
I could not find them. They're in the attic back up in Corpus. So I got out of school today, drove down here. We had lunch, talked about a couple things, and we decided, yes, we'll do a Christmas special for all of you wonderful people out there. So anyways, we want to go ahead and discuss some things, movies that are attached to Christmas, television shows that everybody's grown up with, traditions, maybe even argue over a couple different songs if they're really Christmas and why they still play them and affect us so much. But which one did you want to start with? Traditions, TV shows, movies?
Let's start with movies and stuff.
We'll start with movies.
On tradition. So first one to start out with is like the pinnacle Christmas movie these days, A Christmas Story with Ralphie and his Red Ryder BB gun. So I give it a thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up also. It's been around since what, 84?
Something like that, yeah.
I remember being a little kid watching it. It was not on TV as often as it is now. Like maybe 4 or 5 years into it, it started coming on. But it's always been a clean, wholesome family, telling the place of his memories from when he was a kid back in, what, the 40s or something like that? So my favorite part, do you have a favorite part of the movie?
I have
and we're not going to do this for all the movies because it'll take forever to do this episode. But there's one distinct thing in that movie that I really like.
I've got all kinds of favorite parts in that movie.
Just try to think about the first one that come to mind.
My favorite one is the ending of the movie where they go to the Asian restaurant and they have the roast duck.
Fa ra 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 ra.
No, fa la 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 la.
My favorite is when he finally gets to go see Santa and they have that slide.
Yeah.
And he climbs back up and he's all like, I want a Red Ryder BB, and he goes through the thing real fast. And then the old man, the Santa Claus takes his foot and puts it in his face and says, ho, ho, ho. And just kicks him all the way down the thing, and he just slides, and he's like,
no!
I love you. Kicks him in the face. All right, so we talked about Christmas.
Christmas Story, yeah. They've been airing it on TBS all day on Christmas Day for the past 26 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember TBS had it.
Yeah.
Every single year they'd have it on. Sometimes they'd have it multiple times, right?
Yeah, they air it all day. So they show it multiple times.
Yeah. Let's go with a more modern classic, Home Alone.
I got to give a thumbs up to my man Macaulay Culkin.
Some people say just because it happens during Christmas and they're taking a vacation and stuff, is it really a Christmas movie? It is. There's the tree and you see a lot of different things and stuff, and he's worried about different things and stuff. So, okay, what's your next one then?
My next one is, this is more, okay, so A Christmas Story is like a classic favorite Christmas movie. This one is becoming like the new favorite. It's Elf with Will Ferrell. I got to give it a middle. Neither thumbs up nor thumbs down.
I give it a thumbs up. I saw it in the theaters, and I there's just parts of that movie that is so. There's only 4 main food groups and stuff. And when he's all like, I love you, I love you, I love you, because I'm here and you're my dad. And it's just, and then he's all like, Santa's coming. And he's like losing it. And some of the kids might not remember this, but Bill Murray came out with a really good one about Ebenezer Scrooge. But it's set in modern times and about a guy who has a career and he's kind of screwed everybody over and stuff. And it's called Scrooged. Came out in 1988. I've always liked it. It's got a really good soundtrack, and it's basically it's a Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
but it's told in modern times with a famous businessman and stuff. And
I haven't seen it in a really long time, so I got to give it a mid thumb.
I give it a thumbs up. It's a good movie. It touches on, and I think it's one of the best Bill Murray movies he's ever been in. He gets a lot of other credit for different movies.
So, okay, talking about classic Christmas movies, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the animated one. Not the Jim Carrey remake, not the 2018 CGI remake. I'm talking about the original animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
You're a mean one.
Yes.
Mr. Grinch.
Thumbs
Two
up.
thumbs up.
Two
for
thumbs
me.
up. Okay.
This is a movie that I came out before I was born, but ever since I was little, I always remember it coming on. And since there was no cable when I was growing up, there was only 3, 6, and 10. ABC, NBC,
Yeah.
CBS, and they had each one of them had their own like little special. I think ABC was like. Well, we won't go into the other ones, but yeah, the Grinch would come on, and everybody always liked those other ones, and some people like the Grinch, but to me, the Grinch was so original and such a good story. You felt so bad for the dog, and the Who's down in Whoville and stuff, and how this guy could be so mean, and at the end when his heart grows and it it breaks open,
the case.
and you see the smile on his face, and then he comes to. It's still to this day, I'm old. And it's just like, it's still so good. And then I can't believe that they tried to remake it with Jim Carrey and then the CGI or the computer graphic. It's just, the original was so good, made in 1965. And it's just, it's awesome. It's still so good. This is a modern classic. People love this movie. They take it to heart. Christmas Vacation.
I love it. Oh no, you suck.
I've seen bits and pieces. I might have watched it once 30 years ago, but I've never ever really wanted to watch it. I see about, what's the cousin name? Eddie?
Yeah, Cousin Eddie.
With the RV, and I remember something about like there's a grandfather or something with a hairpiece, and there's just didn't do it for me. Just not funny whatsoever. Some people love this movie. It's like their Christmas movie. Forget all these other ones that we're going to talk about. That's their movie, and I'm all like, how? It's not that
You
good.
got to see the movie in full, not just pieces of it. You got to experience it in full, because the reason I think it's so funny is because it's kind of like timeless comedy. It's not based upon any pop culture references that become dated or any memes or fads that were popular at the time. It's all just smartly written humor that stands the test of time. Okay, my next one is not a family appropriate Christmas movie, but it's one of my favorites. It's Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton, and I gotta give that one a thumbs up.
Here's the deal. I've only seen it maybe twice, and I can't really remember too much other than when she goes out into the car and has sex with the Santa, and that shocked me. I was like, with what she was saying and stuff. So I'm gonna give it a thumbs up, because I do remember there was a lot of parts that I laughed at. It's over the top, vulgar and stuff. Isn't there like a fat kid who like gets picked on? And
Thurman Merman.
I just remember doesn't he follow him around and he quit effing looking at me, you stupid fool.
He thinks he's the real Santa.
Then he starts sticking up for him and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would give it a thumbs up, just because I remember I did laugh hard. I just haven't really watched it very often. It's not, to me, it's not a Christmas movie as much as it is a comedy. All right, let's go on to one that I've always liked. I saw this when it came out in December of 1996. I happened to be going up to Dallas to see The Ocean Blue for the first time in concert. Loved seeing that. It's called Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You took the one right out of my mouth. That movie is perfect. That's a thumbs up for me. I love that movie.
You got Sinbad.
Yeah.
And he was in that.
Yeah.
Just like when he was a genie. That's a little bitty Easter egg for anybody who's ever watched this before. It's got Sinbad, who plays an angry mailman who's trying to get
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man for his, and then of course Schwarzenegger is the ultimate father who forgot to get everything, and he's waiting till the last minute to get the Turbo Man, and then but the guy who steals the entire movie is Phil Hartman.
Yes.
Phil Hartman is the next door neighbor who's basically preying on Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife, and he's always over there. And is there any scene from the movie that you really like?
There's a lot that I really like, but I think the funniest one is whenever Sinbad is being held up by the officers, and he pulls out a gift wrap present from his mail sack, and he says, "This is a bomb," and he's doing like this with it, and everyone is like standing back, and then he puts the present down and then runs away. He just pulled it out of his bag. He has no idea.
That could have been one of our presents.
It could have been, but then the sheriff picks it up and shakes it. He's like, it's just a present. And he opens it, and it actually blows up on him. And then
I forgot that.
As Sinbad's running away, he's like, there's some sick people in this world. Some sick people.
My favorite part is when Schwarzenegger calls home and Phil Hartman answers.
Oh, God.
And then he's all, well, she just went in to take a shower. Do you want me to go get her? And he's all like, no, you leave my wife alone. And then he's all like, I'm just over here helping her with her cookies. Ooh, these are out. And he acts like he's a dad. And you can tell that in real life, not in real life, but in the movie in real life, he's kind of a jerk to his own family, but he acts overly nice to that family. And he picks up a cookie and he's all, oh yeah, this cookie is so good. And then Schwarzenegger's going crazy because he knows the guy's been hitting on his wife. He knows that she's in the shower nude. He knows that he's eating his cookies and he's making orgasmic sounds when he's eating. And he's all, oh, these cookies, like that. And he's all, put down those cookies. The cookies are mine. We're going to go way, way, way back in time to what's considered like the first original true Christmas classic movie. And it's played every single year, and it's getting further and further down the line of what people actually watch because of the other ones that we've listed that are in color and more modern. But it's called It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah.
And that movie with Jimmy Stewart was like the number one movie for Christmas for decades. And have you ever seen it?
I've seen it a while back.
I saw it a long time ago. So
I give it a thumbs up.
It's
It's in the mid.
Yeah,
I think it's got a good. It's got a good message that people clown on, and it's become kind of an inside joke among like movie buffs and film people. But I feel like its heart is in the right place.
Yes. The whole idea about a man who wishes maybe his life was a little bit different, and then when he gets his life back at the end and stuff, he realizes just how blessed he is with what he has.
Next one I would like to talk about are actually, I guess it's a couple of movies. It's the old Rankin Bass animated movies like Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman.
Yes.
With the little claymation puppets. Those have become like instant classics ever since they came out.
Yeah, I was almost going to say this earlier when we were talking about like the Grinch and stuff. Those were the other ones that came on CBS. I remember on CBS they had the Frosty the Snowman one and they had the Rudolph one, and they would go right after each other. And every single year I got sad when Frosty melted. I mean, I was a little kid, and you knew it was coming. You knew the guy was going to trap him inside that goddamn glass thing, and he was going to melt, and the little girl wasn't going to get there, and she was going to cry. And you'd sit there, and you'd be like 8 years old, and you'd be like, man, Frosty's going to die. And then you see him melt, and then they're like, but it's the spirit. That's what the spirit of Frosty and stuff. I'm like, I don't care. He's dead, man. He's a puddle on the floor. And then you're like 12, 4 years later, and you're like, nah, man, I'm into chicks now and stuff. But what's going on? Frosty, he's melting again. Frosty was awesome. And then Rudolph, that they were just so good.
So the next one I'd like to bring up is not so much a movie as it was like a 45-minute TV special, but it's a Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean. That
I've never heard of this.
So Mr. Bean is a British thing. They've tried to have the Mr. Bean character. They've tried to do him in the United States, but he doesn't really catch on. He had that movie Bean that came out in like 96.
It was actually popular.
And that movie is hilarious. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But he doesn't. He rarely ever talks. Yeah. He'll grunt and laugh or something, but he doesn't make any noise. But throughout the entire special, he's been picking the poppers out of a Christmas cracker, and it's a British tradition, and it looks like a toilet paper tube that when you pull both ends of it, there's a little firecracker inside that snaps, and then like a little paper hat, and there's like a joke, and there's a little army man or something in there that all falls out, and it's something for the kids to do. And Mr. Bean goes throughout the entire special picking the snappers out of every popper he sees, and he puts them in one snapper he's keeping in his jacket pocket. And then when he's dejected and sad at the end of the special because he couldn't find, he couldn't have a good Christmas, he the only thing he says in the entire special is "Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean," and he pulls the snapper out. And when he pops it, instead of there being a big pop, you see it cuts to the outside of his apartment, and the windows like flash, like it blows up his entire apartment.
But yeah, that's one that I've never seen, so I can't give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. I know that I've seen it. I've seen Rowan Atkinson in a lot of different Bean things, and they were always kind of very comical, very British humor. Well, the last one I'm going to do for movies is, to me, my favorite Christmas movie of all time, ever since I was a little kid. It's Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
The original from the 1940s. To me, it's just a classic. It has funny lines in it. It has really good acting. It has a really good purpose to it that you don't ever give up. You don't ever stop believing in something just because somebody tells you not to. And then at the end, it has a memorable scene at the end that is just classic. And it's almost like a whodunit. You're not sure at the end. And I remember one of the actors at the end says, maybe it wasn't such a good idea what we did after all. And so you don't know. So have you seen it?
Not the original. I've seen the 1990s remake.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're just going to do the original one here. So you'd have to be...
I'd have to be in the mid because I've never seen it.
This is a bunch of thumbs up. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is traditions. These are traditions that used to happen, still might happen, and let us know in the comments if you guys do any of these things. If anybody watches this episode and you're like, man, I love Christmas, and these are some of the things that we did, we'll do a thumbs up or thumbs down, and then we'll close. We'll just go through these and see if you guys do any of these traditions, and if we do any of these traditions, and if they're good or not. So we'll go through them all. Number 1, eggnog.
No. I don't drink drinks made out of eggs. That's weird.
It's disgusting. There's no reason to have it. And if your family does it, it's usually because it's in a big pitcher bowl and they've added rum or something to it so they can get thrown. Right. A mistletoe.
Yeah, I think that's an all right. It's a fun
I think
thing.
The idea of it is cool, but really, do you want somebody walking underneath that and just planting a big kiss on? Cookies and milk for Santa.
Yeah. He used to leave cookies and milk.
I mean, he's got to have nutrition. He's delivering all these gifts to believers and non-believers.
He's got to carb up. Yeah.
What about leaving carrots or veggies out for the?
I left carrots for the reindeer.
Give a thumbs
Rudolph's
up.
got to have a snack too.
Popcorn rings on a tree that go around the Christmas tree.
A little before my time.
I'm gonna go down. Back in the old days, we used to pop popcorn on the stove. And then you would take a needle and thread, and you'd thread it through. I know you're shaking your head like, why? I don't know why people did this, and it wasn't my family. It used to everybody. And you'd put it through the popcorn, and you'd make these like a ring of popcorn, and then you just wrap it all the way around the tree. Next one, Christmas stockings with coal in them.
I never got one.
I think it's evil. It's underhanded to ever sit there and tell a child that Santa's going to give you a lump of coal for being bad, and then actually following through and putting a lump of coal when all the other kids get toys and candy and stuff like that, and then you sit there with a lump of coal. I don't think Christmas is the time to teach lessons. Lessons should have already been taught before Christmas happens.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anyways, we hope that you enjoyed this Christmas special, Two Old Pirates, episode 65. If you like this, please subscribe, share, and include any of your Christmas remembrances or favorite movies or traditions, and we'll kindly respond to you.
Yes.
If you have any ideas about future podcast episodes that you'd like to hear, let us know. And just make sure that everybody's safe out there. Be careful. And you'll be seeing this on Christmas Day. So I know that you will have no time. You'll have no time for presents or anything like that, or video games or anything. You'll have time just to sit and watch us, because we're all that matters in life.
Yeah.
If it's not the Two Old Pirates, then there is no life. So, anyways, everybody, have a great Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
And we might do a New Year's one, too, with all the used eggnog.
It's going to be on clearance.